That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Bottoms, the sophomore film directed by Emma Seligman, which premiered at the 2023 South by Southwest Film Festival. It is being released August 25th, 2023, courtesy of United Artists Releasing and Orion Pictures.
I know Emma's first film.
Shiva Baby, which we were both big fans of.
We reviewed it.
Stars Rachel Sennott, as does this film, and she also co-wrote.
The story, two unpopular queer high school students start a fight club to have sex before graduation. It is a raunchy adult comedy. Mm-hmm. This is what I wanted Joyride to be like.
Yes, I feel the same way. Even though this is probably more frivolous than something like Joyride, it's also kind of a little bit better structured and cohesive, even though it's pretty silly if you take a step back and examine the plot synopsis, but otherwise a lot of fun.
Well, it's a good example of something. I mean, this story is ridiculous, but it feels smart and fresh, and it's funny.
Or you could even take go back a little further to those movies that James Franco and Seth Rogen were making, like Pineapple Express, where this feels like how that should have felt.
Yeah, my first note is this movie is R2D too much, but I liked it. I would say it's very good. Okay,
what's his name? Al?
I thought I got that from you.
No, that's the judge on UK Drag Race.
UK
the Spexy
Alan Carr?
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Alan Carr.
He said that about Veronica Green.
So the story, the two queer high school students, they're seniors, Josie and PJ. Josie is played by
Ayo Edebiri.
And PJ is
Rachel Sennott.
So the film starts with there being an incident where they are accused of running over the star football player, which is a problem because this school is like really into their football team. So the principal's threatening to expel them, and they're like, if you're not going to do anything about this, we'll start our own self-defense club. So after they leave the principal's office, Josie's like, we should do it. We should start a fight club. Because we can meet girls. Mm-hmm. Because in addition to being lesbians who are unpopular, they're also virgins. So they start this fight club, and people show up. Specifically, the two most popular pretty girls in school, who are played by
Brittany and Isabel, played by Kaia Gerber, who's the daughter of Cindy Crawford, and Havana Rose Liu, who was the star in that film we reviewed, No Exit.
Okay. So Josie and PJ have crushes on these two girls, so they're very excited that they have joined this fight club. But they need a sponsor or an advisor, like a staff advisor. So they get their, I believe he's their history teacher.
Mr. G.
Mr. G, played by Marshawn Lynch, who I think might be my favorite character. I liked everyone in this movie, but he's especially funny to me.
Yeah.
But he becomes their advisor.
One of the very few adults with any kind of presence.
True. Which is kind of, his role in the movie, but also in the story. But they are successful in like getting this fight club up and running, but everything culminates with the football team, because they're still mad at these girls for assaulting their star player. They let it be known that these two only started the fight club to meet girls.
They also lied about being in juvenile hall.
And their clout is like how they were able to even start this club is they have allowed everyone to think that they were in juvenile detention and that one of them like killed a girl. So ridiculous. But of course it all implodes when it's found out that they're kind of frauds. But another important storyline is the rival high school, which I think is called Manchester. Is that right?
That sounds right.
I guess it doesn't matter. The rival high school, they have a history of like committing these violent acts against their high school. So this year's no different. They have their big football game against this rival team, and the two girls, the two main girls, realize something's not right because the home team, their school, the bleachers are filled, everyone's there, but the opposing team, there's no one in the bleachers. So they know something's afoot. And they realize that they're going to have to take matters into their own hands. So the final act of the film is these two girls getting their fight club members to reunite to fight the rival team. So all these girls fight an entire male football team. And they kill all of them. Like brutally kill all of these boys. So they're like the heroes. And then the two main girls realized that what they wanted was right in front of them. So
Well, two of them, because there's a third member, Hazel.
right. But the two main ones, PJ and
Hazel.
Josie, they get together.
I thought it was Hazel that she got together with.
It's not PJ and Josie? We might have to edit this. The two main girls, PJ and Rosie, it seems like they found someone to be with.
Josie.
Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. They find happiness right before they graduate high school, the end. This was rough. But an enjoyable experience. My first note after it's R2D2 much is that all these girls look like grown-ass women.
Uh-huh.
The two leads are 27. I think the youngest one is Gerber. She actually looks like she could be in high school.
Gerber baby. Which I didn't realize she had a small part in Babylon.
But I enjoyed her. First of all, it's weird. I mean, she's stunning and she looks like her mother.
She looks like her mom, yeah.
So it's fun to watch her on screen. This principal's out of control. When he calls those girls into the office, he is screaming at them.
He says get the on the intercom, get these ugly, he uses
He uses a derogatory term towards them, but
and that's basically how the whole film feels. You know what it felt like? The comedic version of Lord of the Flies. Like there's no adults here and everybody's kind of going crazy.
Okay, my thing about adult comedies is that, so the reason why I didn't really care for Joyride is nothing really, it all felt very familiar, like, oh, you did this and we're supposed to be shocked, but it's not. What I like in adult comedies is when I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. What? This is crazy. That's how I felt about this movie. Almost every line is like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that. So it's agitating in a good way. So
I will say PJ remains rather unlikable. She's predatory.
she is, which is probably the weakest part of the story to me, is I wish her character, I know she needed to have some redemption, or that maybe one of the characters needed some redemption, but I feel like PJ's a little too vile.
Yeah, and I don't quite believe
Right.
the romance at the end. It's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah, I don't believe the romance, but I also don't believe that she would actually like,
put herself on the line for anyone.
or learn that the way she's been behaving is bad.
I agree.
So that didn't work for me. I do like that actor though.
Oh yeah, you can also see her in The Idol.
And she's funny.
She's very funny.
When their first Fight Club meeting with their advisor, Marshawn Lynch,
He thinks it's about feminism.
he thinks it's like about empowering young ladies. But then he's kind of like, he's in the middle of a divorce. So his brain is everywhere, which plays into the end of the story. But the first, PJ's the first one to throw a punch. She punches Josie.
No, she gets punched first.
Oh, she gets
by
punched.
Josie, who almost breaks her nose.
And she looks crazy. It looks like she's been badly injured. I thought that was funny. And then they all start fighting. And they're like battered and bruised, but then it feels like the movie The Fight Club.
Well, they do reference David Fincher, yeah.
Because they do seem to enjoy the fighting. So that was kind of interesting. They have a fundraiser, a car wash. And it doesn't go where you would expect. Like, oh, these pretty... Because really only two of them are kind of like the sexy ones, right? So, no. They're selling their dirty underwear to these creepy old men. I don't even think a car got washed. They were just selling the underwear. Hazel's mom. So I also really liked Hazel. That actor...
Ruby Cruz from Mayor of Easttown.
I liked her a lot. And her storyline is that her mom, who's a recent divorcee, and it seems like everyone in the story has money, the mom is having sex with Jeff, the star quarterback.
And mom is played by Dagmara Domińczyk, who you just saw as the very fertile one in The Lost Daughter. She's Patrick Wilson's wife.
Oh, that's her. But Jeff is the boyfriend of one of the popular girls who has joined the Fight Club. So she is sort of wiggling. She's vulnerable because her man is like cheating on her.
Isabel.
Yeah. So that was an important plot point.
Well, and because of that reveal is what kind of allows her to be drawn further into Josie's orbit.
Well, and they want to get revenge on Jeff now that they know he's cheating on her. So they have a plan to go like TP and egg his house, but it doesn't work because he lives in a mansion.
So they can't get the toilet paper.
So they can't get the toilet paper high enough. They can't throw the eggs far enough.
And he's listening to Total Eclipse of the Heart.
So that was a funny scene because he seems gay and he's not noticing that there are all these girls trying to trash his house. And Hazel is a little Unabomber in the making. So she's very excited to like bomb something, and they're like, no girl, you can't do that, but she does it anyway, and it backfires and she blows up his car.
Yeah, because she tries to set it for 15 minutes and it's 15 seconds.
15 seconds. Oh my gosh, the assembly where the football players out PJ and Rosie's being frauds, they have Hazel fighting a grown-ass man at this assembly, and I thought that was funny.
It was funny, but you know, she does quite well.
But this man is beating this girl up in this high school auditorium.
And it ends very violently. Which
it's very violent.
I think that's where I was like, this feels like Lord of the Flies. No adults anywhere stepping in to do anything whatsoever, which is, I think, part of what makes it funny as well.
There's another funny scene where Mr. G, when he's trying to explain to the girls that he's upset that when he finds out they're a fraud, and he's like, I was trying to be an ally to you. But then he starts going on this tangential rant because he's like been hurt by his woman. And he's telling them how they don't even know how to please a woman. And he's describing how to please a woman orally. And it's at that point that Josie's like, I don't think you're supposed to be talking to us this way as an adult and our teacher.
He's like, I bet you don't even know how to...
It's good.
And he has a test they're preparing for called Women Murdered in History or something.
He is Marshawn. Who knew? I mean, I've seen there's like a documentary series about him, I believe, that I watched, and he's quite the personality. But I was very impressed. His comedic acting is pretty strong.
He plays himself in 80 for Brady as well.
Oh, I totally forgot about him in that. So another plot point is that Jeff, the star quarterback, is allergic to pineapple juice.
Yeah.
So the rival school is called Huntington. Their gag for this year is that they replaced all of the water in the sprinkler system with pineapple juice. So they were going to turn on the sprinklers while he's out on the field to presumably kill him. I thought that was pretty twisted. Josie visits her lesbian mentor, played by
Punkie Johnson,
who we know from SNL. And that shit was funny because she lives in like a mobile home.
this old lesbian in a trailer.
And they're having like high tea, but she has like cheap chocolate milk and bread.
It's like 7-Eleven chocolate milk.
I thought it was really, really funny.
And actually, you should stay through the credits because there are a lot of outtakes that are funny too, including
I agree.
with her.
There's another character who I kept her referring to as Avril Lavigne because she has like that long straight hair and a hoodie, but she is on 1000 every time we see her screaming, and she's saying like "slay, yes,"
but screaming at the top of her lungs. There's another kid who looks kind of emo that is clearly planning on blowing up the school, which I think was a really subversive thing to have on the sidelines. And when a second bomb goes off in the football field, he screams like, "Hey, that was." Yeah, that was my line or my job.
It's
like, wow, it's pretty. There's some pretty dark elements that I think it pulls off quite well.
I mean, I couldn't even write down all the funny things that were in this movie. So as like a raunchy adult comedy, this works very well.
But both the leads are very impressive young women. You know, Ayo Edebiri has written several. I think she wrote an episode at least of the vampire
Things We Do in the Dark.
Yes, and the Dickinson series. She has done a lot of voice work. She's going to be April O'Neil. And
I really like her vibe because she's kind of like flat.
But she's going to be April O'Neil in the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She has a voice work currently in Spider-Man Across the Universe, and Theater Camp, which she has a fun little role in, is coming out. Well, that'll be out before this comes out.
What would you give this movie?
3.5.
I would give this 3.5 out of 5 as well. Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.